On the assignment, I didn't put the due date on. Sorry about that. Okay. So before we start, some corrections, because working on so many files and the work files, I got a little bit mixed up on the numbers. For before I send out, like the Nikaya and Agama NA-1, if you open the file, inside, instead of, inside the file, instead of NA-1, it was, I wrongly put, because I cut and paste, intro-1. So if you would like to correct that, on the file NA-1 and NA-2, when you open the file, I have a number there, like handout notes, intro-1, intro-2, they should be NA-1, NA-2, because the contents are the same. So there is, it's just the number that I messed up. Okay. So, and then on today, I'll go into today. I did send out 2 notes, additional notes for the last 2 classes, like Saturday and Sunday, first and the second. Now, I did some additional notes on the introduction to Chinese Tipitaka. Say if somebody asks you, why, Buddhism flourished in China. So I list out some points there. So you might, just for your references, why, okay? So that's additional note, intro-4. That's one of the notes. So I guess you guys can just go ahead and read them, the notes yourself. If you have any question, let me know. So that's number 1, additional note, number 1 for introduction class. Then for the Agama Nikaya, I added a file called NA-4, add notes for 7 cases and 3 investment. Now, this one here, I just explain a little bit more on the 7 cases and the 3 investigation. The previously, I think we went over it. So I think it's Jeff asked the question, about the 3 investigation. So I just want to explain that a little bit more. The 3 investigation can be divided into 3 parts. Of course, it's 3. The aggregates, which are the form, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. Second is the sense basis, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And then the elements. Elements are earth, water, fire, wind, space, and consciousness. It's all on the note that maybe I can like share it. Let's see if I can share it.
Looks like she accidentally left the room. Welcome back. You're muted by default, so you'll have to unmute your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, we're good now.
How can I not share? Okay, maybe
There you
oh.
go.
So here are the, this is the new, the additional note that I sent out. I just want to, explain it a little bit more. According to Venerable Master Insun, he said that, the 7 cases are methods or techniques that we use, but the 7 cases, the 3 investigations are the objects that we can investigate, okay? So say, for example, the form. When we look at the form, we can perceive or investigate the form as suffering. And then why is it suffering? Because, we have this body and it gets sick, gets old. Then we have, how can we stop? Okay, I just received Corey's note. How can we stop, this suffering? And then we can go through the Eightfold Noble Path. So, these are the way, the 7 cases are the techniques that we can use on each one of them. We can also observe the form. Why are we clinging to the form? It's because of, we think that this is mine, this is my body. Then the next one is like we can perceive or observe the form as like this is a composition of the earth, water, fire, wind, whatever the 4 great elements that combine to make this form up. So these are the way, but I think the criteria is that this is more geared towards meditation, okay? More geared toward doing the meditation. It would be more effective if we sit down in a quiet place and start doing that. Then when we get familiar with, when we get so used to it, it becomes a pattern. So whenever facing the situation or the environment, we can also apply these techniques on whatever we perceive, whatever we come across. So those are the points that I want to go over. And then also, I am not sure this is translated into English because Master Insun's book, Overview Commentary on the Buddha's Teaching, he did a pretty thorough explanation on how to do that. So far that I know that, people are picking up bits and pieces of his work and translate into English version. And I think Maba, we do have a few of them available. But if they are, specifically on this section, I'm not quite sure though. So this is just, in case you have to answer a question about the 7 case and the 3 investigation. This is something you can work on or elaborate. Any question about this? Good. So, okay. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. Am I okay now, Corey?
You're not sharing anything if that's what you were intending to do.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me go back. Okay. So any question about the homework assignment? Do you want me to go over it or we are okay there?
Okay.
Well, okay. So you just, for the 3 questions, you just choose one and write an essay, like 5 to, well, I say 5 pages. And please don't go over 6 pages because my mind will truncate that the last page. Okay, 6 is the maximum. Okay, so see if I can go back to Zoom. Oh. So we are okay now. Share. There's nothing to share. Oh. Okay, sorry. I thought I did that. Okay. To Zoom. And one of these days I will get used to. Okay. Everybody see the screen? See the big Buddha over there?
Yep.
Okay, good. See, let me go to my screen here. Okay. And I have to apologize that, like I said before, that so many files to work on. So sometimes I got the number mixed up. Okay, go back to last time we started with the prajna paramita. Any question on the previous class? Or we had a good time after the last class and we kind of forget everything? Okay. Last time we started with this Estasa Kareka Prajna Paramita, the perfection of wisdom in 8,000 lines. I don't know if you remember that or not. Get to that. This one. We stopped there. We read the passage, the selected passage. So I'm going to go into that a little bit. The reason I choose these 3 passages, it's because we're going to get into the Heart Sutra today and then the Diamond Sutra today. So, and you will see that where this condensed, the essence, the heart of the Prajna Paramita come from. Because the 8,000 lines are considered to be the first of the Prajna, first of the entire collection of the Prajna Paramita Sutra. Okay, so the structure of this sutra has a total of 32 chapters. 32 chapters in verse form, 32 chapters in text or essay form. Okay, total of them are 32. Well, combined of them are 64, right? 32 verses, 32 essays. And fortunately, we have Edward Combs who did the book, and I saw Sherry did, we did have a PDF file online that, if you are interested, we can go through it. Now, the sutra, actually, it retains the format of the early teaching, like the Nikaya. It's the Buddha talking or converse or gave sermon to the disciples. Like, for example, in the Nikaya, we have the Rahula Sutta. The Rahula Sutta is the Buddha teaching his son Rahula, or he would like say talk to Sariputra or Moggallana. So it's a conversation between the Buddha or the disciples, the great disciples, talking to each other, trying to explain Buddha's teaching, like what we did with the MN Majjhima Nikaya 18, the Honeyball Sutta. Okay, so this one, the 8,000 line perfection of wisdom in 8,000 lines, it emphasizes on emptiness, because we know that prajna is wisdom. Wisdom, we need to establish wisdom, we need to actually experience or realize the true nature of all phenomena, which is emptiness. Okay, this is the key teaching of the Mahayana tradition. And then also it emphasized on the Bodhisattva. We know that, remember the difference between Theravada and Mahayana? We have a list of like about 20, if I remember correctly, the differences. One of them is the Bodhisattva. In the early Buddhist teaching, Bodhisattva only addressed to those who are going to become the Buddha, like, the Buddhas previous to Shakyamuni. Before Shakyamuni become the Buddha or get enlightened, he is the Bodhisattva. And now, who is the Bodhisattva at this point?
Matthiya?
Yeah, Maitreya. Okay, Maitreya is now in the Tusita heaven. Okay, then he is going to become the Buddha next. So the concept in the Theravada tradition is like this, okay? But in Mahayana tradition, it's totally different. There are various Buddha, various Pure Lands, there are various Bodhisattvas. At least we have the four great ones, right? We have the Avalokite, we have the Kitigaba, we have the Sambhara, and we have the Manjushri. So we have, many bodhisattvas. Okay, so that is the difference. So this Prajna Paramita, we have like 32 chapters. So I selected chapter 1, chapter 9, and then chapter 22. We already read these selections. Do you guys still want to go over it? I would say skip it, because we can read it ourselves. So I just go over the core teachings of each of these three selected passages. Like the first one, chapter 1, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 6 sections, and I select the last one, the section 6. It's called attainment. when we read this sutra, we need a little bit of logical, well, not a little bit, it's a lot of logical thinking, because sometimes it just doesn't make sense, okay? If we don't really penetrate into it a little bit more, because there are a lot of like, I won't say arguments. Well, in a way it is like, you know, saying one thing and repeating and prove that it is true or not true. We see that very often in the Diamond Sutra. Okay, we'll go over that later on. So this chapter 1, section number 6 is saying that form, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness cannot be comprehend. It's so difficult to understand. Well, it is not that difficult to understand intellectually, but it is difficult to comprehend subtly. For example, if I raise my hand, I know that this is my hand. This is the form part of the 5 aggregates, right? Okay, so this body is the form, is the physical form part of the 5 aggregates. We think that we know, and we think that we can control, because I can raise my hand, I can talk with my mouth, I can see with my eyes, but actually we don't have control. Why I say that? For instance, my heartbeat, can I control it? To a certain extent, okay? The digestive system, the circulative system, in a way, you know, we can perceive this form in almost boundless way to look at it. But, you know, we cannot control it. We cannot 100% totally understand it. So that is why they call it. Then the next 4 aggregates, perception, wow, it changes like that. Volition, you know, I don't know what I decided to do next when I come across to some condition. Consciousness, it's even more complicated. So that is why it's said that, you know, the 5 aggregates are boundless. We cannot comprehend, we cannot fully understand. So is a bodhisattva. Okay, so they use the aggregates to illustrate that, you know, a bodhisattva, what do we perceive it? Is it a being? Is it a human? We know that it's a being. Is it a human being? Is it a celestial being? You know, it's even broad and profound, okay? But whether they are the aggregates or bodhisattva, they are only words. Why? Because if there is no language or word, we cannot perceive it. We cannot even grasp or have a little glimpse of what does it mean. Okay, say for instance, this physical form is made up of tiny particles. If I don't call myself or somebody to identify as Caddy, then I call, you know, this body, it's trillions of small particles. Then everybody is a formation of trillions of particles. So how can we understand that, oh, this is Caddy Troy, this is Corey, this is Lee, this is Francesca. So those are the words that is going to let us understand what does it mean by the 5 aggregates. This is the form, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. And this is bodhisattva. Of course, we have definitions for bodhisattvas. So In a way, they are invisible. We cannot actually see through it, unapproachable, and it's not locatable. Okay, I can say that, I'm sitting here, I'm doing a talk, but, in the comparison to the actuality, it's not locatable. So what is prajna of a bodhisattva? Since the bodhisattva itself is no limit, it's boundless, it cannot be comprehended, then what is this, what we call the prajna, or wisdom of a bodhisattva? Bodhisattva itself is already very vague in a sense, cannot be identified. Then the word prajna is only a word again, okay? So even the bodhisattva himself cannot be seen or found, then how can one say that there is such thing or such dhamma as the wisdom? So bodhisattva is a word, wisdom is another word. Okay. I think I jumped a little bit. Okay. And then it continued to say that the bodhisattva is not afraid when he heard that there is no such thing as a being. There is no bodhisattva's path, no attainment. That is prajna. Here, what it says is that a truly enlightened person, he understands that everything is changing. There is no constant or substance that is unchangeable. So everything is nothing but the words to identify, to make us understand. And then the next one is Sariputra asked Shibudi, in this sutra, in the Nikayas or early Buddhist teaching, Sariputra is supposed to be the one with the highest wisdom, okay, wisdom, prajna. Excuse me. But here, what is Shibudi? Shibudi is being titled as the person who understands emptiness the most. Okay, so here we have a comparison. One is with the higher prajna. One is the person who understands emptiness. So prajna paramita is an explanation of emptiness. So here we can see that, it's putting Shibudi above Sariputra, because Shibudi is the one who can explain and actually realize what is emptiness. So Sariputra asked Shibudi, if there is no bodhisattva, then who practiced the difficult task of a bodhisattva? We know that the task of a bodhisattva is not an easy task. So there are 2 points Shibudi answered. He said that the bodhisattva who performed the action as a bodhisattva won't think that it's a difficult task, because this sort of difficulty would not appear in the mind of a bodhisattva. So for somebody who is so used, so familiar, or become a part of him, then when he perform a task, it won't be difficult. And then the other point is that other than compassion and loving kindness, there is no differences among all beings. So there are 2 meanings, well, actually more than 2. One is that by substance or by condition, we are all made up with the 5 aggregates. So there is no difference of me than the person, than Chiu who's sitting next to me. Okay, there is no difference or among us all. In a sense, in that sense, there is no differences. But, the compassion level of a bodhisattva compared to this ordinary person, the level and then the volume is so different. Okay, so there are two meanings here. It says that no attachment to anything, being, either sentient being or any kind of being, or the Dhamma, phenomena, including the path or method. And then all beings are no different than the Bodhisattva himself. Okay. So that is why in the Mahayana Buddhism, we always, hear in the Buddhist community, we always hear that somebody address the other person, oh, Bodhisattva, so and so. But the level of Bodhisattva is different. We have the beginner's mind. We have, the first bhumi up to the 10th bhumi. The 10 levels as a Bodhisattva. So, but then both are not truly existing in any form or appearance. All phenomena are empty in nature. This is the key word. All phenomena are empty in nature. Therefore, there is no attainment, because we cannot differentiate. You're better, you're higher, you're more compassionate. So it starts with dividing the differences, that there is compassionate and loving kindness of a bodhisattva compared to the untrained worldling. Okay, but then eventually there is no difference in the sense that all phenomena are empty in nature. Therefore, attainment or non-attainment makes no difference. Again here, when we listen to all these teachings, there are two things let's keep in mind all the time. It's one, there are conventional truths. Two, there are ultimate truths. We cannot say that, oh, okay, since I'm empty, there is no attainment. Why should I practice? Why should I even learn? Okay, that's not what it meant. So 2 levels. Make sure when we listen to the teaching or when we read the teaching, we have to know that at which level this teaching is talking about. Okay, so let's see, I forgot to, okay, that's 2, 3, okay, here. And then the next thing, the Venerable Sariputra would ask them, by which way? Now, he asked that, is it difficult? Then, since there is no bodhisattva, then who is going to practice? And then the next question is, what method that a bodhisattva? How do they salvage people? How do they help others? So Shubhusi's answer was like, by way of prajna. We have to use prajna. We have to use wisdom. So when a bodhisattva listen and pay attention to the teaching does not decrease. When a bodhisattva is lacking attention to the teaching does not decrease. Again, 2 things. First of all, it talks about the empty of the self, the 5 aggregates, right? Even the bodhisattva is empty of the self. Now it's talking about the Dhamma, the method. So somebody would say that, oh, okay, I have to practice this way, so that I can do some attainment. But then Sri Buddha said, there is no attainment, okay? There is no attainment. So whether, you pay attention to the teaching or not, then the Dhamma is the Dhamma, okay? It's a word, but that is the method. So when we realize that, then we develop what we call the prajna. And remember we talked about prajna last time, that it's not the ordinary wisdom or intelligence that we understand. So here at the conventional level, we say that there are beings to be savage. There are bodhisattvas to help others. There are ways or methods to practice. But at the ultimate level, all these are only words and conditional existence. So I use, Samyutta Agama Sutra number 335. This is a very short but very profound teaching. It talks about the emptiness. It says, at the ultimate truth, there is no doer or performer. There's no receiver, no action to be performed. Then we'll ask the question then, if there is no doer or performer, who is going to go through the cycle of samsara, cycle of rebirth? Okay, so if I didn't do anything wrong, I didn't perform any unwholesome action, why am I going through this suffering of rebirth? Okay. I think we'll get across to that. When we come to it, we'll explain it a little more. So here it says that we cannot interpret it. There is no cause and effect, because if there's no doer, no performer, no receiver, if I hit somebody, nobody got hit, and I didn't perform the action. So there is no cause, no effect. So this is not true at the conventional level, okay? The function is still there, but there is no unchanged, permanent, independently existing, substantially actually exist, okay? So that is at the ultimate level. So if we say that there is no cause and effect, then we fall into the extreme view of annihilation, the wrong view. But if we say that there is actually a doer, a performer who acts, and receiver being acted upon, that we fall into the trap of eternity, another extreme. This teaching, it's very close to the Heart Sutra, and we will come across to the Heart Sutra later. That is why it is called the Heart Sutra, because the Heart Sutra is the essence of the entire collection of Prajnaparamita. So the next chapter is chapter 9, praise. I just, pulled out some of the important points and let's go over it. It says perfect wisdom is merely a word. We just say that. There is no duality between perfect wisdom and word. Okay? Both of them cannot be grasped based on one we just talked about. Word is a word. Does word have an intrinsic nature? Perfect wisdom, no intrinsic nature. So in that sense, there is no duality. There is no difference. And then the Bodhisattva Maitreya, when he attained the supreme enlightenment, will expound the same teaching, the same perfection of wisdom. So when Maitreya teaches, he is not being confined by the idea of there is such impure or defiled skandhas. We said that this skandha is so defiled, that is why we're going through samsara. And then here with the perfect wisdom, we said that, this skandha, that this 5 skandhas are not defiled. Okay? So it's kind of like the skandha is neither permanent nor impermanent. in a sense, it's empty in nature. So the skandha, the aggregates, we cannot call it defiled or pure or impure. That's at the what level? At the ultimate level, right? Now here in the conventional level, then we say, okay, because of defilement, we're going through the rebirth cycle. The prajna paramita, it's not easy to grasp. It's not easy. It takes a little bit more thinking and logic, even logical thinking, to be able to penetrate into that. So when we realize that, then we are equipped with the perfect wisdom. Not yet, okay? A long way to go, but don't be discouraged. It's doable. So in that sense, we are realized, it is the realization of the true nature of all phenomena. All these teachings we will come across over and over and over, whether it's in the paramita, prajna paramita, or whether when we're talking, we're talking about the Yogacara school. Of course, the Madhyamika school emphasized most on the emptiness. But it doesn't mean that the other school does not, talk about that. So the next one would be the section 2. Section 2, it just talk about the benefit of the perfect wisdom and praise the perfect wisdom. See if I can grab a little bit here. Okay, now section 2 here, let's see. Just give you a little bit idea about what it is talking about. It kind of like, and you will hear about this again, that, if somebody hear about this, then what is the benefit? Okay. It talks about the, how do you say it? The benefit, like if we bear that in mind, we recite it, we study, we spread it, explain it, all these, what are the benefits of a good son, of a daughter, any son or daughter of a good family. So the Diamond Sutra talks about that a lot, okay? So I'm not going to go into that in detail, but if you're interested, you can read. Okay, so that's that. Going back again. Okay. So the next one would be chapter 22, the good friend. Remember when we study the word of the Buddha, the good friend, Ananda talked to the Buddha, say that, Venerable Sir, good friend is part of the enlightening path, but the Buddha said, not so Ananda, not so Ananda. Good friends are the entire path. So here, it also talk about the good friends and give you a list of who are the good friends, like the Tathagata. Of course, we know that. The Bodhisattva who are skillful in Bodhisattva's course and who can instruct in the perfection, who demonstrate and expound the perfection of wisdom, those who teaches the 6 perfections. So what are the 6 perfections? Still remember? What are the perfections? The paramitas, right? It starts with generosity, sila. So start with dana, sila, and then what? Tolerance. 6 of them. We need to keep that, memorize that a little bit. Okay.
Energy, meditation,
Energy. Yeah.
wisdom,
Meditation and wisdom.
Kyle has it as generosity, morality, patience, effort, concentration, wisdom.
Yeah. Energy is effort. You can interchange. It's interchangeable. Very good. Very good. Those things, I would say we should memorize it. It helps. Hopefully it helps with the Alzheimer also. So this sutra is considered the earliest Prajna Sutra. The setting is very close to the early discourse of the Buddha, like the Nikaya. And then it's a conversation between either the disciples and the Buddha or disciples and the disciples. So the teaching is in accordance to the need. Again, last time we talked about this. Accordance to the need and faculty of the listener at the time. So it's not as organized as the later Prajna Paramita Sutras. Okay, we can see that later on when we study the Diamond and the Heart Sutra. So remember we said that Mahayana Sutras are developmental. Then we can see that, come from the original teaching and, talking about this subject, that subject, a little bit. Then some people will say that, okay, this is what I listened to the Buddha, this is the core teaching. And this is called the Heart Sutra. It's very simple. It's 245 words. Okay, so I'll set it aside and say that, okay, this is the Heart Sutra. And then somebody would say that, oh, this is the essence that Buddha was teaching, and it's called the Diamond Sutra. Okay, so let's set aside and put it aside and say that, okay, separate it as an individual teaching. So with here, there, this piece, that piece, it kind of makes up. It's an entire collection of the Buddha's teaching. Okay, not even to mention the commentaries on those, sutras, but it's not a creation at all. It's something that developed from the core teaching, but, being extracted or even combined it. So, for this sutra, the Astasahika Pachara Paramita Sutra, the 8,000 lines, unfortunately, I looked over and over and over. There are only translations. I cannot find any commentary or explanation of this sutra. Not even in Chinese.
No commentaries.
Yeah, not even in Chinese. Okay, so it has the translation. So I have been, looking and looking, but no, unfortunately. But we can find a lot of commentaries on the Diamond, on the Heart Sutra, but just not this one for some reason. Translations, yes. There are a few, there are 3 points that I would like to stress again and again and again, because we're going to come across these things, these 3 things. Actually, that's one. It's called the intrinsic nature. there are three characteristics of this intrinsic nature. First of all, to be intrinsic nature, it has to be permanent, immutable essence. It has to be independently existing, unconditioned. It has to be absolute actuality of substance or mentality. So if I say that yesterday Katie exists with an intrinsic nature, then I cannot exist today. Because today, Katie is different from the Katie yesterday. Okay? So we cannot say that this body and mind has an intrinsic nature, because I change and I cannot independently exist. Okay? It's a compositional of the elements and the four process of mental of the mind. Okay, so these three characteristics, it's going to appear again, and again. So now let's get into the interesting part, which is what we call the heart of the entire collection of the Prajna Paramita. So if you have the note with you, then we go to PP-4. See if I can find it here. If I want to, I have to stop sharing. We'll come back to it later. Okay. Can't read without my eyeglasses. PP-4. Okay. And then 200%. Share. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope everybody had this PP-4, 250%. Okay. There is a book by Venerable Master Insun. He gave a discourse on the Prajna Paramita Sutra. And here are the teaching. Here is some translation from his discourse. So it might not be 100% accurate, because my translation I have a lot of room to improve, but I did my best, based on my understanding of his teaching. So some of the like the definitions we already went over. I hope you still retain a little bit what we talked about when we did the introduction of the Paramita Sutra. What is prajna? What are the paramitas? Okay, so the title is Prajna Paramita. And, like I said, we have to refer back to the previous teaching of the introduction. I'm not going to go through it. So the Buddha's teaching has a purpose. It's to transcend all suffering, or else why are we here, practicing? And the tool, remember we talk about, it's by way of paramita. There are ways. We have to fulfill all these 6 paramis or paramitas in order to get across from the ocean of samsara to the other shore of liberation. Okay. Let's go over a little bit and then we'll take a break. So suffering, dukkha, right? It's what we feel. We have 2 kinds of suffering. One is the physical body, because we went through birth, old age, sickness, and death. And then the other one is mentally. It's, what happened, like we have the social relationship, departing from the loved ones, associate with the undesired, and then we suffer from the nature, like right now, what happened with the pandemic. The external environment, I didn't leave my house for like 4 months, not getting what we needed or want. We have to order grocery from Costco. I can't go out shopping. Okay. But what are the root causes of suffering? We have, again, 2. One is the physical cause. What we did something wrong is cause and effect, right? Unwholesome action leads to unwholesome effects. And then the mental cause, the desire, this craving, clinging, and grasping. And most importantly is the desire to exist, which, I is so important that I want to go on and go on and go on. And not only that, I want to have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, so that, this life can extend. Okay. So this craving, desire for existence actually lead to rebirth and trap us into the cycle of samsara. And the second one is the wrong view. So there are 5 false views. Let's go over it real quickly and then we'll take a break. So, okay. First wrong view is that though the mind and body are not more than a temporary union of the 5 components, one regards them as possessing a self. Okay, and that is absolute. I'm going to be here. I live till about 100 years old, and not only that, maybe past 100 years old. So why am I doing that? Because I think that, I'm the owner, I'm the master. Okay, and this body, I possess this body. I can control the body. I can control what I'm thinking. Remember, we talked about, we can master this body and mind, but actually we can't. Okay, I don't want to go to the bathroom. Can I control it? I don't want to get sick. Can I control it? To a certain extent, yes. Okay. I don't want to think about something bad. Can I control it? Actually, no. Okay. Something will surface based on our habitual pattern. Okay. It's so wild that, we cannot, it's hard, the monkey mind is so difficult to tame. And then the second one is the belief in 1 or 2 of the extremes, that I can do whatever I want to. Because when I die, I die. And that's the end. I put a stop there. But in Buddhism, no. We are bringing whatever the action, whatever the energy, positive or negative, with us wherever we go, unless we come out, we get out of this cycle, these 3 realms. Okay. Or another thinking would be that, you know, yeah, my body died, but my soul is still existing. So I have to prevent this soul going somewhere bad. Okay. It's still existing. When we come to the Abhidhamma, talk about the Sarvastivadian's idea, then we will be a little bit more clear on this aspect. And then the third one is denial on the law of cause and effect. Again, this is reinforcing what we had just said, fall into the two extremes and, think that there is such a thing like a permanent self. The fourth one is adhering to misconception and viewing them as truth, with regarding inferior view as superior. There are 4 upside down views here. We call it like viewing impermanent as permanent. We're talking about, we perceive that suffering is happiness. Okay. Suffering as happiness, like for instance, I like chocolate again. So I have tons of chocolate to eat. I'm very happy, 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 happy. Then my sugar shoots up and I go to the hospital. So that kind of happiness is not actually happiness. Self as non-self as self, okay? And then we have impure as pure. So 4 upside down views. And then the 5th one is viewing erroneous practice or precepts as the correct way to enlightenment. In the early discourse in the Nikaya, there is a collection, a discourse talking about somebody seeing that he's meditating, a yogi meditating, and with the meditation, he went up to the heaven realm and see that, this person in the heaven realm, the previous life of this person is actually a cow, an ox. So he started to perform the action of an ox, thinking that, he, after that, he will be reborn to the celestial realm or heaven. But then this kind of rites and ritual is a wrong practice, a wrong precept. So thinking that we perform the wrong or practice the wrong precept would lead us to enlightenment, it's a wrong view. Okay, so I think the Eightfold Noble Path talk about the wrong view also. So let's stop here. One more. There are 2 types of clinging. The clinging to the self, clinging to the phenomena. So to transcend all suffering, start from improving ourselves and liberate ourselves from bondages or defilements. Now, perfection of the paramitas is the way. We're talking about by way of prajna paramita, right? It's the way, it's the method to achieve the goal, these goals. So let's stop for a minute and then we'll come back 15 minutes. So that's 35. So that's
9:50.
50, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Have a good break. Welcome back. Okay, we just talk about to transcend all suffering, start from improving ourselves and liberating ourselves from bondages or defilements. And then to do that, we have to fulfill or perfect the paramitas to achieve these goals. And then the next one is Master Insun talk about the 6 paramitas, which we already did in the introduction of the paramita. So we can refer back to those notes. Remember, I have a table for comparing the 10 paramita of the Theravada tradition and also the 6 plus 4 paramitas in the Mahayana traditions. So if you can go back to that note, then we can restudy those. The next one is the 3 marks of existence. This is just telling us about the truth of how we actually exist. So there are 3 characteristics, which are also called the 3 Dharma seals. And somebody would say that there are 4 Dharma seals. So anicca, anatta, in the Theravada tradition would be dukkha. Anicca, anatta, and dukkha. Mahayana tradition would be anicca, anatta, and nirvana. Okay. Why skip dukkha here? Because it says, because of impermanence, therefore dukkha, therefore suffering. So these are the 3 marks of existence that Master Insun taught in his discourse. And then he said that the teaching of Mahayana Buddhism can be understood from 3 viewpoints. One is how to cultivate the bodhicitta, which is the bodhi mind. Bodhi means awakening, okay? How to cultivate the bodhicitta. And then we have to develop the great compassionate mind, okay? Then by way of prajna, perfect wisdom. Now the bodhicitta, the sequence of enlightenment path by Tsongkhapa, the Tibetan tradition, there are 3 steps to get enlightened. One is to cultivate the renunciation mind. Okay, we have to detach from this worldly events, worldly things, worldly associates. So to cultivate the renunciation mind, then develop the bodhi mind, which is more the Mahayana thing that, with great compassion. Then we have to realize the true nature of all phenomena, which is the empty nature of the 3 phenomena. So it's comparable. It all depends on which angle that you cut in. So the next one, he talked about, Venerable Master Insun talked about Xianzang in the dynasty, who was the translator. There are mainly 2 very important translators of this Heart Sutra. One is Xianzang, the other one is Kumarajiva. Okay, 2 of them. Now this one, I think he based on the Xianzang translation version. As far as for the translator for Xianzang, we will talk about him when we come to the school of Yogacara. So I won't go into that at this point. And about the contents. Later on, you will see another explanation of the Heart Sutra. this one is based on Venerable Master Insun's teaching. So first of all, he talked about there are no preface at the beginning and there is no paragraph of glorification at the end. Usually with a sutra or sutta taught by the Buddha or spoken by the Buddha, it starts with the verse of Evan me sudang. Those who study Pali should be familiar with this verse. Thus I have heard, right? So then at the end, it would have a paragraph of glorifying, how to spread this sutra and, how good, how beneficial. But Heart Sutra, nothing. No beginning, no ending of a common, sutra. So somebody would say that this is actually not spoken by the Buddha. But we have studied the 8,000 lines before, right? So we will understand where this comes from. It is actually the essence of the entire collection. The content, the core teaching are in the content of this Heart Sutra. So explanation by Master Insun, the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. The Bodhisattva mentioned in the Heart Sutra, he said, it's not referring only to the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. Okay. The Chinese translation, let me scroll this down, if I can do that. Master Insun mentioned that the Chinese translation is 观自在, which meaning clear perception and completely at ease or freedom from all obstacles. Okay, 自在, it's free from any obstacle, very free and at ease. 观 meaning that clearly perceiving. So there are two meanings of 观自在 according to Master Insun. One is, I don't know why two meanings. There are more than two meanings. So, okay, I'll double check on the two meanings. I don't think it's two meanings, but okay. So I extract 4 points out of that. It says that it could be commonly referred to the Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. Okay, it's a title to the Bodhisattva, like the Manjushri, like the Kitigaba. They have different vows based on the vow. Then we kind of understand that, Manjushri, it's perfected in wisdom, and Kitigaba for the great vow. Each Bodhisattva is different. So the title of Bodhisattva is based on his special qualities or merits or vows. Venerable Insun said that anyone endowed with the transcendent wisdom and fully liberated from the bondages and completely free from all obstacles can be titled as 观自在, the Bodhisattva with clear perception and completely at ease. Okay, so that's one. That's two actually. Commonly will actually address to Avalokitesvara or anybody who with the quality or merits can be addressed to. And also Venerable Insun explained that the only Bodhisattva who reached the 8th bhumi, there are 10 bhumis, we know that. 8th bhumi is totally unimpeded by the form, the mind, the knowledge. Such Bodhisattva is able to clearly perceive the reality of the universe. Now, at the eighth bhumi, a person or a bodhisattva attained the eighth bhumi. He or she reached the state of, in the Chinese word, it's called forbearance of non-rebirth at that time. Okay, and then eighth bhumi is also very important later on when we talk about the faith. Now, at this level, the Bodhisattva clearly perceived the empty nature of all phenomena, including the five skandhas. So he's not only freeing himself from suffering, but also able to help others to transcend their suffering. A Bodhisattva attained the eighth bhumi. That is when he starts to learn skillful means. Any other skillful means, I remember that Master Insun in his book, The Way to Buddhahood, mentioned about that. Anything about the skillful means is just a saying. It's that when a Bodhisattva reaches the eighth bhumi, then he starts to learn about the skillful means. That is when he starts to actually, trying to know how to salvage people. So emptiness, we talk about that before, but because here, that there are some, according to Venerable Master Insun's teaching, it's just that he mentioned it from the beginning of the sutra, Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. So it is feeling, consciousness, the verse, the text. Then he talked about the five aggregates. What are the five aggregates? He said that the physical phenomena are obstruction and decay naturally. So that is why it's empty in nature. Then the mental phenomena, feeling, the four processes of the mind, feeling, perception, mental formation, operation, consciousness. So all these are process of the mind. Here, he said that, we have to understand the true truth. Conventional truth, which is the aggregates, and the ultimate truth is the emptiness. Whether it's physical or mental, there are always two truths. Conventionally, we have this five aggregates. We have this physical body. We have these four processes of the mind. That is the conventional truth. But the ultimate truth, there is no intrinsic nature. So that it is empty, both mentally and physically. Then he talked about the 12 sense bases and start from, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, which is the doer, the self, the performer, and then the object. Objects are the external object, like the form, sound, smell, taste, tactile, and Dhamma. So that is something to act on. So it's a receiver in a sense, The first one, the subject, is the performer or the actor. The object is those things that being acted on. And then he defined the 12 sense bases, the phenomenal nature of the universe. Began the process of connecting here. See, connecting the internal to the external. Okay, internally we have these five aggregates. Externally, we have all these different bases. Okay, that we form a contact. Remember, we talk about papancha. The process of papancha is connecting the internal to the external. Then the phenomena, the 18 dhatu. So this is just another way of looking at the process of papancha. You know, the faculty, the form, which are including the faculty, the external object, consciousness, all three things together. It's called something, it's called contact, okay? So up to here, no realm of vision and so forth, no mind consciousness, the sutra, up to here, it's the description of phenomena. Then the Dhamma, law of nature. So there are two there are key or core teaching in Buddhism. One is the 12 links of depending origination. So begin with what? The 12 links. Begin with ignorant, right? Then the next one, sankhara, remember? Formation, right?
Yes.
12 links. We will do that again and again, you know, later on. And then the other one, core teaching, is the Four Noble Truths. Okay. Now, the Four Noble Truths, bear in mind that suffering, cause of suffering, the path, all those are conventional truths. Only cessation is the ultimate truth. Okay? Even with the Eightfold Noble Path, it's conventional truth. It is conditioned but contaminated. So Four Noble Truths, suffering, cause of suffering, Eightfold Noble Path, they are conventional truths, but out of those three, suffering, cause of suffering, they are conditioned but contaminated. Also, they are conditioned, also contaminated. The Noble Eightfold Path, they are conditioned, conventional truth, but uncontaminated. Only cessation is unconditioned and ultimate truth. Okay, so keep that in mind. When we get to Abhidhamma, we have to separate them. You know, we have to have that concept in our mind, you know, to grasp the teaching. Okay, then comes the hindrances. He explained about the 5 hindrances. We won't go into detail about that. So it rely on the prajna paramita, no more hindrances. The mind is free from fear and papancha, the conceptual proliferation, and realize the ultimate truth, the nirvana. Okay. The next term will be the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Now, it's a compositional Sanskrit word meaning that such kind of bodhi, remember the last word is bodhi, the awakening or enlightenment, is the highest, the greatest, the righteous, the limitless, that no other level equivalent to it. And then only the Buddha, not even the Arahats, based on the Mahayana teaching, will reach this state, not the Bodhisattvas, only the Buddha with the supreme wisdom. It's completely awakening with the ultimate fruition and merits. Okay? And then at the end it says gate, gate, paragate, parasangate. So it's gone beyond, cross over to the other shore completely, and may awakening be achieved speedily. Okay, so this is the explanation of from Master Inson's book, Discourse on Prajna Paramita Sutra, 般若经讲记. Okay, that's the one. So I did find the version Maba chant on Sundays. The translation, originally I thought it's from Thich Nhat Hanh, but Thich Nhat Hanh had a different translation. So this one is from a monastery called the Zhong Tai Chan. It's Middle Land Chan Monastery in Taiwan, one of the 4 great monastery of Taiwan. Okay, so let me pull that out. I'll stop share this one. See if I can get that. Okay. Return. Any questions so far? I forgot to look at the chat. Is there any question? Now I need someone to, let's start with the chanting, and then after that we'll scroll down to explanations. Let's see who is going to help me chant. Would David, can you do it? Do the chanting. Can you hear me, David? Maybe not.
I nominate Kong Shi.
Oh, I think that's a good, I was thinking about that too.
You were asking me to chant?
Yeah. Let's see if Venerable Kongshi would do it. Kongshi Shifu, can you do it? Would you like to do it?
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
The Heart of Prajna Paramita Sutra. Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, while deeply immersed in Prajna Paramita, clearly perceive the empty nature of the 5 skandhas and transcend all suffering. Sariputra, form is not different from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. So it is with feeling, conceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Sariputra, all dhammas are empty in character, neither arising nor ceasing, neither impure nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, there is no feeling, conception, volition, unconsciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dhammas, no realm of vision, and so forth, up to no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and no ending of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, and no ending of aging and death. There is no suffering, no cause, no extinction, no path. There is no wisdom and no attainment. there is nothing to be attained. By way of prajna paramita, the Bodhisattva's mind is free from hindrances. With no hindrances, there is no fear. Free from all distortion and delusion, ultimate nirvana is reached. By way of prajna paramita, Buddhas of the past, present, and future attain the supreme enlightenment. Therefore, prajna paramita is the great powerful mantra, the great enlightening mantra, the supreme and peerless mantra. It can remove all suffering. This is the truth beyond all doubt. And the prajna paramita mantra is spoken thus: Gate, gate, paragate, arasam gate, bodhiswaha.
Thank you very much, Venerable. So sweet. Okay. Down here are some explanation by this Zhongtai monastery. Okay, it's both on. I also pulled it onto the slide, but I think here it's clear enough so we can maybe look at this just here. So, excuse me. So it starts with the title, the Heart Sutra. So it says the short title of this most popular and important sutra contains the very essence, like we said, the vast body of the wisdom teaching. Okay, sutra, it's a Buddhist scripture or discourse. Prajna, we have talked about that a lot. So in the introduction, we can refer back. Again, paramita, we talk about that from the translation of Thanisaro and also the translation of Bhikkhu Bodhi on the paramitas. We can go back to the notes and take a look. Bodhisattva, here, it almost the same as Venerable Master Insun's teaching, but it says that instead of going into detail like somebody who equipped it or possessed of those good qualities of clear perception, and then free from bondages or free from obstacles, are also can be addressed it as bodhisattva. So here it explained that, the bodhisattva, it's with infinite compassion, vows to become a Buddha, and also vow to liberate countless sentient beings. In the Chinese language, there is a term for that. It's called 上求下化. Okay, it's same meaning. It's just they shorten it so that when we hear that term, we automatically think about, oh, it's the action of a bodhisattva. So a bodhisattva also practice all the 6 perfections, okay, by level, each level. And then bodhi means enlightenment, okay. Sattva or sattva, in Pali it's called sattva, are sentient beings, are sentient beings with consciousness, okay? Not a piece of wood or stone or, a tree trunk or anything like that, with consciousness. So our Kate Shwara Guan Shi Yin Guan Zhi Zai. Here it basically refers to Guan Yin. But Venerable Insun, add another color to it. So this is the most beloved bodhisattva in Asia. So when something happened, or when people, a Buddhist talk to a Buddhist, they do two things come out from the mouth. One of them is Amitofo, okay. The other one is Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. So it's very, very beloved, very, very close to those names. And it also means that perceiver of cries of the world. Okay. Then deeply immersed. So here it's almost topic by topic explanation. What is deeply immersed? Deep in the practice and understand of the profound prajna paramita. It's not enough to understand prajna intellectually. We talk about this. Remember, we have like three kind of wisdom. One of them is called the Suttamaya prajna. The other one is called the Chittamaya prajna. The third one is called the Bhavanamaya prajna. Okay, three levels of wisdom. It's like we listen. So, we gain some knowledge or wisdom, give us kind of stimulate, kind of like a leading to. So by listening, by learning. Then the next one is by investigating, reasoning, pondering, okay? Then it kind of stimulates the mental factor of thinking, okay? The mental factor of thinking, 思心所, okay, it stimulates. Then it will give rise to the Chittamaya Panya or Prajna, okay? Then the third one is actually experience it, called Bhavanamaya Panya. So 3 levels. So not just intellectually. Then the next one would be emptiness. The empty nature. Remember the 3 things that we just mentioned, and please keep that in mind. What is an intrinsic nature? Okay. Without understanding intrinsic nature, we won't be able to understand the empty nature. Okay. So empty nature, meaning that, the self and phenomena are without independent existence, inherent, fixed characteristic. So those are the requirements to call something that with intrinsic nature. Okay, they are impermanent, mutable, and mutual dependent. Their individuality is in appearance only. What we see is what the image that, that with the function of contact and put it in an image into our mind, okay? So that is changing so quickly. So Buddhism provides us with several classifications of phenomena to help us understand how the ordinary people perceive the world. Like the 5 skandhas, like the 12 bases, like the 18 dhatus of sphere. So this is how we perceive, but with ignorance. We are grounded in ignorance. So all these are ultimately empty in nature. So talk about the 5 skandhas. We know what they are. And then the explanation on Sariputra, a senior disciple of the Buddha, we know that. The Dhamma. Now Dhamma, we have like the capitalized Dhamma, meaning the Buddha's teaching, the law, and the truth. And then the lowercase Dhamma, meaning all phenomena of things. Neither arising nor decreasing. So by understanding the mutual dependence and interconnection of all things, one realizes that all creation and destruction, whether birth, death, good, bad, all those dual things, exist in appearance only. By reading the Prajna Paramita, the Prajna discourses, gradually we will understand why the school of Abhidhamma, or why at that time, in India, people start to think the way of the Abhidhamma thinkers, because by just reading the sutta or sutra itself, it does not give us a deep sense or deep connection with what the sutra is teaching. With the analytical skill of the Abhidhamma teachers, then we start to understand, birth, death, good, bad, all those duality, what happened in the mental state when we perceive things that way. So the next one is no form, feeling. Now, the following are some negations. In the introduction, I talk about Nagarjuna's 8 negations. I don't know if you remember of that. Then we can see that, all these commentaries are based on the Buddha's teaching. Like on the negation, here is the, the 5 skandhas to point out the superficial appearance and characters that we're familiar with, and actually no intrinsic substance, okay, physical or mental. So here is that the physical matter is just nothing but the energy. And we know that there are 4 elements to make up this form. And its appearance is an illusion of the perceiver. If I see something, then I think, oh, this is so beautiful. And another person look at it and say, what? That is so ugly. So all depends on, we have a saying like, beauty is in the eyes of a beholder, right? So all depends on the perceiver. There is another story about, when the queen walked out. So there are a group of people like the king, the queen's son and daughter, the what they call it, people in the court. How do you call it? The officials. Okay, when they look at
Courtiers?
what is it?
Courtiers?
Yeah. So when they look at the queen, they have different thinking of, different perception of the queen. So it all depends on, the perceiver. Now the feelings are subjective, of course. Some people said that, chili are good, taste so good. Some cannot stand it. Conception are mind-made. We all know that, Volition or intention that will lead to action, a decision that we make mentally. that will eventually lead to either verbal or physical action. So what we call the consciousness are nothing but the stream of thoughts based on deluded understanding of reality, based on our habitual pattern. There is actually no self to be found on these forms, these 5 skandhas. Okay, here another negation. No eye, ear, Dhamma. It talked about the 12 bases, the 6th sense, the 6 objects. Then the next one would be no realm of vision, no realm of mind consciousness. All these are talking about the 18 dhatus. The sense basis, object, consciousness. So the 3 things comes together. Something called contact happen, okay? So these are the 18 spheres or dhatus. Then the next set of negation would be no ignorance, no ending of ignorance. Here it's what? The 12 links of depending origination, okay? Start with ignorance, intention, consciousness, mind, well, name and form, what they call here is sense, mind and form, 6th sense, contact, feeling, craving. Here the contact it's almost similar, but they have different school, have different explanation on that, all the way to aging and death, and the reverse, okay? So whether it's the downstream or upstream, both of them are empty in nature. So that is why birth is no different than death. Okay, suffering is no different than nirvana. All are nothing but illusion, delusion, and empty in nature. Then it comes no cause, no extinction, no path. So suffering is produced by ignorance and delusion. It is empty. So if ignorance and delusion are empty, then the rest of them are empty. Okay? And then the path is a higher understanding of the Four Noble Truths. So up to here, let's go on with the next negation first. The next one is no wisdom and no attainment, okay? So up to here, no wisdom and no attainment. Can we recall what we just did early this morning on the 8,000 lines? Can we relate it or connect it to those teachings? Can we perceive that where this Heart Sutra is coming from? Since the 8,000 line is the earliest teaching of the Prajna Paramita. Okay, we can, if you want to do that, sometimes I do that too. I'll put it side by side and actually find out, hey, this is the source. This is how the Heart Sutra formatted or based on. So the next one is by way of Prajna Paramita. Remember Sariputra asked Shubhuti, by which way a bodhisattva performed the action? We can recall that back, okay? We just talked about that. So by way of Prajna Paramita, the practice and profound understanding, the empty or connection, equality of the nature of all Dhamma. That is prajna, that is wisdom. So one's mind becomes free from all delusion and abide in absolute peace. And this is called attaining nirvana. There is no fear. Fear comes from misunderstanding and ignorance. Now with prajna, all fear is removed. What do we fear most as a human being? I don't know about you. I'm afraid of dying, of death. Why? First of all, because of my attachment. I attach to this worldly thing. I attach to my family. So with this pandemic going on, I'm afraid that somebody will catch it. Right? And you know, someone sent me a note from a nurse who worked in the intensive care, actually the ventilator care, and she described how the person is being treated, and it's nothing beautiful there. Okay, so and the most I'm afraid of would be like, where am I going? Am I going down somewhere that I don't like? So these kind of fear. But if we understand that, yeah, conventionally truth, yes, you know, there is this I am going through all these things. But if we understand with the prajna wisdom, then everything is empty in nature. Not that, you know, not that cause and effect does not exist, but it is only a process, right? So it's going to pass away anyways. It's going to change anyways. So what do I need to do at this point of time? I need to learn. I need to get away or get out of this samsara. Right? So how do I do it? I need prajna. I need wisdom to do that. So the next one would be the Buddha. Okay, we know that the Buddha is the enlightened one. Okay, and there are Buddhas in the past. Our currently at this life period, not life period, at this era, not the right word either. At this time span, that might be better, that we have a Buddha called Shakyamuni Buddha, right? Then the next one will be the Maitreya Buddha. It's coming. So Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, we explained that. Powerful, enlightening. So true wisdom liberate and empower us. There are no higher wisdom than prajna. Again, prajna is not the ordinary intelligence. Nothing compared to it. Now the mantra in the Chinese word is called 真言, which translated into English is true words. Okay, it's a short phrase. It's just a gatha or short verses, which contains a lot of meanings. Usually, you know, especially in the Mahayana Sutra, we don't translate. We just use the sound, use the same phonetic to express or to say that. So gate parakate parasangate bodhiswaha basically means go beyond, go completely beyond to complete enlightenment. So this is a brief explanation by the Middle Range Chan monastery. Any questions so far? Can you relay this explanation to Venerable Master Insun's explanation? I don't know which one do you like better, but there are similarities. Master Insun's perception or explanation would not limit it to just word, the term by term translation or explanation. He will go above and beyond. What I did on the translation on his teaching is just a little corner of the entire snow mountain, just very, very, very tiny bit of it. His teaching is far more extended and much more profound. But then for this course purpose, we'll probably just talk about the Heart Sutra. We'll probably at least take a good 3 months talking about it, if we want to study Master Insun's teaching. So it's not just, here is just a very brief thing to do. So would you like to have another break?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do, here is 42. You want another 15 minutes?
Sure, that'll work.
Huh?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or 10 minutes? 15? Okay, 15 then.
Okay.
Any question so far? Any comment? Any point that you want to discuss on both of the Prajna Paramita, the 8,000 line or the Heart Sutra? If not, I have a question. So what is the core teaching of the Heart Sutra?
Emptiness.
Good. Emptiness of what?
The self and the phenomena.
Okay, very, very good. Another thing, one more thing that we can, we learn from this. Anyone? It talks about suffering, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I had my microphone muted. I did say it. I promise.
Okay, it talks about suffering. It talks about the aggregates. It talks about the 12 links. It talks about, the Four Noble Truths. So it's emptiness of the self, emptiness of the phenomena. It also let us know about the two truths. When it talks about suffering, the aggregates, the dhatus, the sense basis, it actually was teaching the conventional truth. When it talks about nirvana, talks about the emptiness, it's teaching us about the ultimate truth. So within the Heart Sutra, it not only teach the conventional truth that we need to detach from this clinging to the real self, but also not to cling to the phenomena also. So at the conventional truth, we know that there are suffering, there are causes of suffering. There are also way out of suffering by way of prajna paramita, right? So it kind of let me think a little bit deeply. Of course, we know that as a bodhi, to become a bodhisattva, we need to perfect the 6 paramitas or paramitas. But without actually going through the sila, the samadhi, then is it very difficult to reach the goal? Like at the beginning, it says avarakate bodhisattva avarakate swara, while deeply immersed. Okay, that's a practice of samadhi, not just ordinary samadhi, right? So all the 3 learnings are included in here. Okay, sila, samadhi, and prajna finally. Okay, and then the 4 noble paths are already there. So the core teachings are 12 links of depending origination and also the 4 noble truths. But the entire essence of the Buddha's teaching are included in this 245 Chinese characters. Okay, 12 links is there, 4 noble truths is there, conventional truth is there, ultimate truth is there. Okay, so that is why it is called the heart of the Prajna Paramita Sutra. Now, when we read the 8,000 lines, we hear the Buddha's conversation with the disciple Shibudi or Sariputra and some other disciples, or even, some other beings. But then it's a direct discourse when needed at a certain time. Okay, so, but then when it comes to the Heart Sutra, everything is included, confined, but in such a detail, even though it's so short, but in such a detail that all the teachings are almost, totally condensed in the 245 Chinese character. So isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Good. I hope that, with the study of the Heart Sutra, I believe that most of us are able to memorize these 245 Chinese character If not, at least the translation, the Buddhist translation that Venerable Kongshi just chanted, because we do that on Sundays. So, any comment? If you would like to go further, study that, I believe that John also give Dharma talks on the Heart Sutra before, I believe. So we can go back and listen to his Dharma talk. There, like I said, there are many people make comments or explanation on the Heart Sutra, but not the 8,000 lines, because it's a little bit hard. Because it's, the teaching here and there according to the need of the people. So if we don't have any question, then let me.
I have a quick question. What
Okay,
file?
please.
What file did you just have displayed? What file did you just share with us? I wasn't able to find mine.
Sorry about that. What happened is, okay, I have a Word file. This one is the PPT, right? Am I correct? Or this one is the Word file?
That looks like a PPT.
Yeah, this one is a PPT.
Okay. I'm not finding it in Introduction to Prajnaparamita Sutras. It only has 23 pages, so there may be an update to that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I send you guys, I post the old version of it. Okay.
No
Let me
problem.
go back and repost that after class. I have some changes in the other file also. So I'll repost that, after class today.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Because originally I thought that, the Word file would be good enough. Then I thought that maybe, the PPT would be a little bit clearer into looking at on the screen. So the next one, it's a biggie. It's called the Vajrachatika Prajna Paramita Sutra. Diamond Sutra, the discourse of the Prajna Paramita Sutra, again by Master Insun. In his discourse in this book, he gave two discourses, one on the Diamond Sutra, the other one on the Heart Sutra. And for those Chinese readers, if you're interested, it's part of the Miao Yun Ji, okay, the Miao Yun collection. It's called the Bora Jing Jiang Ji. Actually, it's the first book in the entire collection, but it's the hardest. So for this Diamond Sutra, I selected a few chapters, and it's not short compared to the Heart Sutra. So I have a few files, like PP-5 is an introduction, and then chapter 6 and 7, chapters 13 and 14, 21 to 25. Later on, we'll go into the structure of the Diamond Sutra, and you will see that, up to chapter 15, 17, up to 16, it's one section, and then the rest of them, it's another section. the prefix, the body, and then, at the end, it's the glorification. As a normal or common Mahayana Sutra, or even the Nikaya also, it has a prefix, the body, and then at the end, the glorification. So Heart Sutra is different because it is the essence. I'm not saying that Diamond Sutra is not. It's looking at the same core teaching from a different perspective. Okay. Oh, one word about our schedule. At the beginning, I pass out a schedule, and that's tentative, subject to change, because, I wasn't sure how long does it take for complete one topic. If we can finish earlier, then at the end we have a mock exam, right? Then I scheduled in the afternoon for the mock exam. Now, if we can finish a little bit early or cover the topics, which I doubt it very much, then I might move the mock exam in the morning so that, everybody can have a discussion on the questions or answers at the end. Then we will be able to find out what the exams are going to like. Now, if not, don't worry. I'm available for questions. Either email me, Slack, text me, or if time allows, we can also hold a discussion later on for those who are willing to join, to discuss, the exam topics, the answers, what is the benchmark for the answer. Because, like if I ask a question, I do have a list of points that, if you touch this point, then you've got a mark there. If you, cover this point, you got extra mark there, explanation in detail, or just, give me the bullet point, all those. So we will hopefully go over that if we have time. Okay, the big one. Now there are, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 Word files. I did not put it into PPT. The reason is it's too much word, too much material to transfer from the Word document to it. And I really apologize that there are typos, there are, incomplete sentences, there are things that I want to say, but I didn't put it in. But, all these 5 Word files cover, I would say, about 90 to 95% of, what we need to go over, even though there are errors in the, in it. So sorry about that. All right, let me stop this and then go to if I can go to there. Let me see if I can go there. Okay, PP-5. I try to number in the way that that we have a system, but sometimes I'm able to do it. Sometimes I'm not able to do it. A low-tech person, it's like that. Okay, let's share this one. Okay. Can everybody see this file?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is called the Vajrachedika Rajna Paramita Sutra. In short, it's the Diamond Sutra. But I have to find my file first.
Could I ask what's the meaning of the first, what's it called, Pali word?
Yeah, it's a Sanskrit.
Or Sanskrit? What's the meaning of that?
We will go over that
Okay.
later, because you know when Venerable Master Insun did the explanation on the title, he actually go into very, very detail about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So the title is called Vajrachedika Prajna Paramita. Now, the Chinese translation of prajna is border. And we went over prajna many, many, many times. Okay. So the Diamond Sutra, this sutra is actually part of the vast collection of the prajna discourses in the Mahayana Sutras. So the Diamond Sutra is a short form, short, not quite short, from the Sanskrit title of the Vajra Chedika Prajna Paramita. Okay, Vajra meaning diamond. And Chedika comes from the root form of Cheta. Now we'll get to this word later in just a minute, okay? Just remember two words together. It's called Vajra. Vajra meaning diamond, means diamond, and Chedika has some other meanings. So according to Venerable Master Insun's explanation, there are the diamond, two versions to analyze this diamond, the word diamond, okay? And then the two versions is actually based on the two translators. One of the translators is Xianzang, and the other one is Kumarajiva. Okay, now Xianzang is a lineage from the Yogacara school, and it's very interesting when I read that. It says prajna is according to Xianzang's lineage. Okay, not necessarily Xianzang, his lineage. Whoever follow him later on. Says prajna is the transcendental wisdom that can cut all vexations. Okay, and diamonds symbolize vexation because diamonds are extremely hard and difficult to break, just like vexations are extremely subtle. It is difficult to totally eradicate unless one attained Buddhahood. Okay, so here diamond symbolize vexation. And this version of explanation is considered to be legendary. So that's why I said that, it's not necessarily Xianzang, it's his lineage. So whoever that is, we don't know. So it's considered legendary based on Asanga. Who is Asanga? Asanga is the founder of the school of Yogacara. Okay, so Asanga's commentary on the Diamond Sutra, there is no indication that Asanga comparing diamond with vexation. And in Asanga's commentary, he used diamond as a simile to represent wisdom, because diamond is very subtle, firm, unbreakable. It symbolizes the depth, the sturdiness and profoundness of the foundation of wisdom, meaning the reality. So whoever, comes up with the idea of, diamond symbolize fixation. We don't know, but it could be good too. I mean, it has its own explanation, right? So from the Kumarajiva's lineage, again, his lineage, okay, the diamond symbolized prajna, like Asanga in his commentary. Prajna can destroy all process of papancha. If you still remember what papancha is, then we know how important to cut off the process or the stream of papancha and all presumptuous clinging, and would not be influenced by this clinging. Okay? Now, prajna is firm, bright, and sharp, just like the diamond. It can destroy other things, but it cannot be destroyed. Okay? So that is why Master Insun said that, both version of explanation can be accepted, but, the viewpoint of diamond representing prajna would be more realistic. Okay. So just like there are two kinds of diamond, there are two kinds of prajna. Both are firm and sturdy. The transcendental prajna can cut through others, but nothing can damage it. The other one is the worldly wisdom, and even hard, even though they're hard, but still, can be destroyed. So now comes the other word, form, the Sanskrit form, Lisa just asked, the Chedaka. Now I put some of the Chinese translation there. Okay, it means that the ability to stop, to cut off, to eradicate, to determine. So it's hard, firm, sturdy, and capable. So these are the characteristics of the diamond. Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is diamond considered still the hardest material, or there are some other thing that, it's harder than diamond? I don't know.
Yeah.
What is that?
Titanium, metals, all kinds of
Or
metals.
titanium or something.
Yeah, there's material. It's boron nitride, but yeah, so it's
okay.
pretty unique.
Yeah, maybe we can rename that the Titanium Sutra or something. But, as far as we understand that, well, I like diamond anyways. So according to Venerable Master Insun, it says it's reasonable to say that diamond resemble prajna. There is another term called determination that is part of the Chedaka or Chedika, right? Determination. So he said that, the beauty of diamond is not only because it sparks. Well, he didn't say that, I said that. The beauty of the diamond is not only because of spark, brilliant and radiant brightness that shines through darkness of vexation. That's what he said here. Or it can symbolize prajna that cuts through all defilements. One of its priceless quality and character is its hardness and firmness, determined, right? Determination, which resembles another paramita, determination. Now, I don't know if you still remember, determination is one of the paramita or not. It is. Okay. In the Pali word, it's called aditana, if you remember. Okay, it's determination. Now, according to Bhikkhu Bodhi, he said that determination has the characteristic of determined upon the requisite of enlightenment. It functions to overcome their opposites. It manifests the unshakableness of in that task. And the requisites of enlightenment are its proximate cause. So again, not just Venerable Master Insun. And then Pante Narada Mahatara said that without this firm determination, the other perfections cannot be fulfilled. It is compared to the foundation of a building. This willpower forces all obstructions out of the Bodhisattva's path. And no matter what may come to him, sickness, grief, or disaster, he never turns his eyes away from his goal. And we can like fill in the blank here during this very special time in this world. I just read an article yesterday about, they did a study on the tendency of suicide. And a lot of the young people, because, they cannot social, they cannot go out, or they still go out, but, not as convenient as before, not as free as before. Then, they did a study that, the suicide rate or tendency is on the uprise. So we need the diamond to cut through all these defilements, all these uncertainty. We need the determination. Okay, now prajna, again, we can go back to the definition that we talked about before. Now here, Venerable Master Insun mentioned that during the assembly of prajna, it's a meeting, the Buddha is there, everybody was, the great disciples and practitioners were there. So the main character, Shibudi, we know that Shibudi is the main character of the Diamond Sutra, asked 4 questions about prajna. This is not in the Diamond Sutra, okay? In the Diamond Sutra, they mentioned that Shibudi asked the question. This is from another teaching, I believe, that Venerable Insun said that, during an assemble, not necessarily the Diamond Sutra assemble, but in a prajna assemble. So I believe that this probably from a passage of the earlier teaching, like the 8,000 lines of the perfection of wisdom. Okay. So there are 4 questions. What are the 4 questions? Number 1 is, what is prajna? Number 2 is, in what sense that it is named prajna? What is the function of prajna? Or how prajna functions, okay? What is prajna? What is the function of prajna? We did have a little bit of this piece, the function of prajna. We did have that, in the 8,000 lines that, on the selected passages earlier. And then prajna belongs to whom? Again, if you recall, prajna with the Bodhisattva, remember? On the 8,000 lines that we just went through, then who can develop prajna? So those are the 4 questions in an assembly the Venerable Shibudi asked the master, the Buddha. And then on each item, Master Insun explained that these questions. Now, this translation that we use, the Diamond Sutra that we use, it's not the version from Xianzang's translation. It's from Kumarajiva. Remember, the Heart Sutra is from Xianzang's translation. Diamond Sutra, he based on Kumarajiva's translation. Okay, so Master Insun explained these answers based on Nagarjuna's commentary. Okay, so there are various commentaries. Nagarjuna, even Vasubandhu, Asanga, Xianzang and his disciples. And before that, you know, a lot of the great either scholar or follower or Buddhists, you know, they have, you know, different commentaries. So I'm trying to see how much can we go through on this one, because let's go through. Let's start with that and then see how far we can go. Then we'll stop for lunch in about 15 minutes, okay? So first, what is prajna? Master Insun explained that there are 3 types of prajna. Number 1 is the reality or the true appearance of prajna. This is the title, okay? Reality or the true appearance of prajna. 3 types, right? The other one is the insight prajna, or prajna of observation. We know that insight is an observation. Then after that is the language or word prajna, 3 types. Forgot to scroll down. Here are the 4 questions and the 3 types. See if I can do this a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, the reality or the true appearance of prajna. He said that reality or true appearance means as it is, as it is. In the Pali language, it's called Vata Buddha, as it is. Now, we cannot use the word exist or non-exist to describe reality. It's neither exist nor non-exist. Nor we can think about or imagine reality as this or that, big or small. Reality is part from all images. It's apart from all images or descriptions represented by verbal or written language that cannot be grasped by contemplation. DEE, meaning that the ultimate truth, the most complete, those are the words, no word can describe. Once we use a word or language to describe reality or prajna, it's wrong. Because no word can represent that, okay? So we cannot say it's real or not even real or unreal. It's not the right description. Anything comes out, either in written or in verbal, or even in body language. You cannot describe it. Okay, that is why the Chan school, and later on we'll go to the word prajna, that they emphasize on not using any language. So it's if fictitiously cling to this image leads to unable to see the reality of truth. Okay. So no word can describe it. And then Master Insun said that internally, a person, untrained worldling, not realizing the truthness of the emptiness of the self, elusive assuming that this self is the doer or the subject of an action. So internally means what we just talked about. Means there's 5 aggregates, right? Okay, so this 5 aggregate, we assume that I'm the master. I can do, I can perform action. Okay, so this is a very misunderstanding. It's an illusion, delusion. Then externally, we're deluded by the worldly phenomena and not being able to see through their compositional image, which are conditionally arisen regarding the external phenomena as object to be acted on or to be obtained. Okay, so those are because we cling to the image so much that we are not able to see the reality of the truth or appearance of emptiness. Then the next one is called the insight prajna, or prajna of observation. Master Insun further classified prajna into like 3 more categories. Okay, on this part, the insight prajna, in order to point out the ultimate or the transcendent prajna. So the worldly prajna, this is the ordinary wisdom that a talented person, such as an artist or scientist or philosopher or politician even, could have. Okay, this kind of wisdom. Now, this type of wisdom is apparent and with defilements, definitely. Okay, therefore, it cannot be considered as prajna or the transcendent prajna. This what we call, well, we can call it intelligence. We can call it knowledge. Okay, Chinese word, it's a little bit too, it's a bit easier to kind of separate in a way we call 智慧. 智, it's more towards the knowledge, the way to understand. 慧, it's the prajna. It's related to the wisdom, the mental factor of wisdom. When we go to the mental factors, we will see that even wisdom can be divided into 2. One is called the contaminated wisdom. The other one is called the uncontaminated wisdom. So the next one is the non-Buddhist prajna. The non-Buddhist prajna group do also have their different level of wisdoms. They understand that life is suffering and stay away from evil deeds. They believe of an unchanged self. Wow, this is a killer. Okay. Now, this kind of wisdom is based on wrong view. And wrong view, it's not a small thing. Wrong view can lead us to various paths. Okay. You're so rich, I'm so poor. What's wrong with getting some money? You know, just taking some money from you. Okay. This kind of wrong view can lead to a lot of wrong deeds. So this one, even though, you know, I'm very smart, I can steal without you knowing. Smart, right? But, you know, this one cannot be considered as the ultimate prajna. And the third one is the prajna. Again, remember, this is still within the category of insight or observation. The prajna of the savakas. Now, the savakas are actually, they are not just with the, you know, worldly smartness or worldly intelligence. These are the person who practice and attain the state of liberation. You know, the savakas, they are listeners to the Dhamma, they're disciples of the Buddha. So they took the Arahat route. They understand the self is empty without intrinsic nature. They also know that this world is suffering and impure. They practice renunciation. Remember we talked about, you know, the three sequence, the three steps of Tsongkhapa Bodhi path. One is to cultivate the renunciation mind. The other one is to cultivate the Bodhi mind. Then the final or the ultimate one is to realization of the empty, true empty nature. So those are the three steps. Now, these group of people practice renunciation, but they do not realize that phenomena are also empty, especially the teaching are also empty in nature. Therefore, their wisdom is away from the middle path and cannot be considered as the transcendent prajna. Okay, the prajna of the above three groups cannot be considered as the transcendent prajna. So Venerable Master Insun mentioned that the transcendent prajna requires both wisdom and compassion. Okay, the Bodhisattva path is to cultivate Bodhi, awakened mind, and also develop compassion. So only the Bodhisattva with their equanimity, unlimited compassion, and loving kindness, and flawless, skillful means would perfect the transcendent prajna. So prajna is the realization of emptiness. It can be developed through the observation of the reality or the true nature of emptiness. This is the practice of insight. Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara, while deeply immersed in the prajna paramita, clearly perceive that is insight. Okay. Therefore, it is referred to as the insight prajna. So which one is the ultimate? The worldly, the non-Buddhist, the prajna of the savaka, all three are not being considered as the transcendent prajna. Okay. Only the Bodhisattva, and of course the Buddha, let's just say. Okay, shall we break for lunch? We still have a long way to go on this, but don't worry, you know, whatever we can finish, we finish. If not, then, you know, we can spend a little time on the next one. since, you know, you guys are so good, you don't have any questions for me. So we can, you know, squeeze a little time on that one. But hopefully, you know, I would like you guys to open up for questions and discussion, even comments, you know, point out that, hey, Kelly Choi, you're wrong. You know, this is not the right meaning. Please do that, okay? All right, let's break for lunch and we'll come back at 1:15, not 1:30, 1:15, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have
Thank
a
you.
good lunch.
You too.